Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at a pulley failure. I need to apologize for my voice right now. I'm a little hoarse, so I'm sorry if I sound a little more coarse and rough than I usually do. And so what we're looking at here is the other day I was using my Timemaster mower and then I heard just a really awful rattling sound coming from my mower deck. So I immediately stopped the mower to investigate what was wrong. And it turns to find out I had a pulley failure or a tensioning pulley failure on my deck. So I've already loosened some of these bolts here to make the removal process here a little bit easier. But there are two pulleys. There's one right here, and there's another one right there that provides a tension on the synchronization belt. Then that comes out, and if we look at this pulley here, you can see that this should not be coming apart like this. This should be solid. And so the core of this pulley has just shattered and disintegrated. There's some rubber shrapnel inside because this pulley should not be able to do this, and so this pulley needs to get replaced. So not a bad replacement as long as you can find the parts. The replacement part for this cost me just under $16 at my local Toro parts dealer. So let's take a look at the part. Okay, here we're looking at the replacement part is Toro number 1314529. Take it out of the bag. What you get in the kit is you've got the pulley and these bolts. You go to the bottom, then there's this bushing that goes into it. This is part of the pulley kit, and I believe this is actually an update to the part that there is now a cap that goes on top here. I don't believe these caps are actually present on my Timemaster. Maybe I've got a slightly older model, but I don't think all the units actually had this cap, but nice that they include it, and I will definitely put it to use on this one because I think it'll help keep dust out and to keep this pulley correct. As you see here, you can see there's the bearing and there's this black rubber ring around it. Now let's compare that to the failed part. Now here's the failed part here on the mower, and you can see how this just goes around. I've already just loosened this by hand. These are all 1/2-inch bolts. So as we take this apart, we can see the failure here. Slide out the bolt here. Here's the bushing that we've got a replacement for. And mine actually had a washer on top that I see did not actually come with the kit. So I'll probably put that back in. And you can see here in my failed one here, how this is just able to rattle around. And it was sitting all cockeyed with the belt. You can see how that's there. It looks side by side with the new one. If we look here at top, you can see how this one here is just worn down over heat and friction and time. I believe these are considered wear items. I've had the mower for, it's completed 4 years of mowing, or 4 mowing seasons, at least for Midwest terms. Obviously this isn't like Florida or somewhere in the South where you're mowing 12 months a year. And so this is what happened to it. The tools that you're going to need to make this repair, first you might want a parts tray to keep your screws straight. The first thing you're going to need to actually get under the mower to get into is a 3/8 socket. You could do a deep one or a short one with a little extension. I'm going to go with a 1/4-inch drive and then use a 1/4-inch ratchet. I'm just going to use this little roto head ratchet here. I've got a video about this to help me deal with some of the engine obstructions to get around a couple of the cover bolts. But that is only going to be used for the cover bolts. For replacing the pulley, everything else is you're going to need 1/2-inch wrench that has an open end on it and a box end, a 1/2-inch socket. I'm using 3/8 drive. Then you're going to need a short extension. This is about an 1-inch extension, so you can get actually over the pulley to be able to reach the bolts behind and get down inside. You may be able to use a deep well socket to get around that, and then a 3/8 ratchet. So just some pretty basic tools that you need for this, and that's it. So let's go back over to the mower and get started on replacing the pulley. And so I'll obviously be using the new bushing that came with us. So let's build our assembly here. We're going to take our new one here. We'll slide our bushing in. This is then going to sit on top of our pulley here. We had a washer that came with it. We're going to slide the bolt through this and down like that. Then there's a lock nut here that goes down. And then when this is all tightened up, there should be enough clearance here that this can spin freely around this arm here. There we go. And then with that in place, I'm going to put this cap onto the new pulley. just like that, and it'll snap right into place. Might take a little bit of pressing here around to get the little barb lip down. There we go. That'll help keep dust and debris out of that. So I like that. I think that's good. I like that little update to it. So now we're going to take this part here and we're going to put it back into the mower. So now we're going to take this and put this assembly back into the mower. There's going to be a little bit of finagling here of getting the belts around the pulley just right and correct. And so a couple of things here to pay attention to. So there's obviously this assembly here that's going to apply the tension, but there's also a set of hold down bolts for this assembly here that will need to go back in. And so there's one here and there's one in the rear. One of the challenge with these, the one in the rear particularly, is that in order to get to it, you need to be able to reach around this and down. And now to get that bolt in, this bolt has to go around back. Let's see if I can find that hole by feel. And hopefully you can see that right back there. So this is where I'm going to use a short extension on my 1/2 inch socket to be able to reach over the top of this pulley to be able to tighten that up. This is going to basically provide the little track that the tensioning mechanism can go on. That'll work for now. And we're going to come back around to the front, and there's going to be another one of those. We're going to have to apply. Let's see if we can find it here. It's right there. You can see that. So the other one's right there. I've got some debris in it right there. You'll see it when I get the bolt dropped in. All right, so now we're going to put in the bolt here for the front one. It's going to go in front of the pulley. A couple things here. If you look at this bolt here, you see if you go all the way down, there's this little wider flange part here that's going to provide the space for this bracket to be able to slide. So this bolt does not actually go all the way down to the deck. I mean, it'll feel like tight when you get there, but this is designed to just hold down this track. Here we go, just get it started by hand. And then we will switch to the socket. There we go, now we've got the play. Alright, so we're going to slide our hardware in there. You'll notice that this little metal piece here is supposed to provide a little bit of a spring action. Then we'll put our lock nut in. We can start this by hand. All right, so you can see I've got this assembly here hand tight. Now I'm going to take the wrench. Important to use the open end of the wrench because you're not going to be able to get the box end off. And we're going to set that up back here. And then you'll notice here, this is basically like a little leaf spring here on the silver end here. So we're going to tighten this up. I believe there is an actual torque spec for this. But we'll just get this nice and firm enough. I think that feels actually a little too tight, so we're going to loosen this up. There we go, that feels about right. Should be a little bit of play in the belt. And now at this point, all we have to do is now put our cover back on. To do that, we're going to use our 1/4 inch socket and an extension. The other thing that when you're putting the cover back on, always pay attention to this throttle cable right there, because that throttle cable there has a specific exit coming out. And then with that, you'll be done. And then with your mower cover back on, you're back in business, so you can get back out mowing and keeping your grass and yard nice and clean this year. If this video is useful to you, please give us a thumbs up. I'll put a link below for where you can get the part for doing this pulley repair, and have a great day.